welcome back to episode 46 of the Hops and Bops podcast, our little mini EP series. Joined with me is Mike. I am producer Tom. I figured I would just get your introduction down.
Oh yeah, appreciate that.
You're a little off guard. I didn't want to catch you. Get you slacking. But this is my my EP and beer that I've chosen to pair with this, and I've chosen Kids See Ghosts, a collaborative effort between Kanye West and Kid Cudi, dropped in 2018. And to pair that, I have the 𝘿𝙬𝙖𝙙 from 𝘿𝙬𝙬. Is it 𝘿𝙬𝙖𝙙 from Newport,
Yes.
Oregon, I believe it says on the side. Yep.
They've
It
been
is
in the freezer for a solid hour.
Yep.
These are gonna be cold.
Yep, it's a maibock-style ale with a robust malt profile and a sweetness that is balanced by the liberal use of bittering hops. So it's got an IBU of 40. It's a little bit on the bitter side.
Yeah. You know, Pac-Man yeast, deep honey in color, and a malty aroma. We've been using, so the last two episodes, these, what did I call them? Non-disposable solo style cups.
That's what they sound
Hard
like.
plastic. But I will say the one thing I didn't realize until after is we didn't really get to talk much about the color because these are solid.
Yes,
Like
yeah.
we normally do with the glasses.
Yes.
But I just felt like we're outside right now.
We're poolside,
We're poolside. We're not in the pool. That is being saved. 𝘿𝙚𝙖𝙙 is still on vacation.
Yep.
We're saving
He's
the
in Aruba.
actual in the pool episode where we're gonna, maybe like chill in the water and record on the edge of the deck. And so I just figure, being outside though, we'd use the solo style cups. More like
a little bit more party feel.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. But it did. I noticed that last episode. It did kill our availability to actually get a nice look at the color.
Yes. So we'll look at this one.
But Rogue is saying it's a deep honey color with that malty aroma.
Okay.
So that's pretty.
Okay.
Pretty cool.
I've never actually had any of their style beers. I kind of picked it on the way over here.
I have. I'm not sure which. I'd have to look. They do a.
Look at their list here.
They do some variety packs.
Okay.
Where you get like 4 different beers in like a 12-pack of bottles.
Okay.
And Rogue will do a few different ones of those, and I've grabbed some of them just because I like to try different things. When you get the variety pack, you get 4 different beers I could try.
Oh, okay.
So it's nice for me, especially with a brewery. I we can't frequent Newport, Oregon.
Yep.
Unfortunately, even though Oregon's beautiful.
It
See
is.
pictures and all that.
It's also on fire.
True. Yeah. No, I mean I would pick a different time. I'd pick a different time to go there for sure. But yeah, no.
And it does say on here they use free-range coastal water in making this, so you get a bit of that Pacific Ocean kind of taste in there.
Water.
And this beer has won many awards.
Yes.
2019, it won the gold in the World Beverage Competition, New York International Beer Competition, platinum in the World Beverage Competition 2018, the best of the U.S., a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah,
so.
they're pretty diverse.
Yeah.
They have beer. They actually have spirits. I saw a picture. They do their own vodka.
Okay.
Canned cocktails.
Okay.
CBD seltzers.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have their own soda.
Wow.
So
Really?
they're a beverage machine.
They're all over the place.
They really are. Which is kind of cool. I mean, you think if they have their, vodka, and then you buy their Sprite type soda, and then it's a full Rogue, vodka soda. That's kind of cool.
And I like how they have this little star emblem on here that tells you how much of everything it is.
That is cool.
So it has 5 points of toffee, malt, bitter, roast, and 𝘿𝙬. I don't know what 𝘿𝙬 is. Oh no, is that nutty?
It's
nutty.
It's
Sorry,
nutty,
it looked like an H on there.
It does, but I believe it's nutty.
Yeah, I believe it is. And it's almost max in toffee and malt. I'd say halfway about bitter and not barely a little bit of nutty and roast. So you're really getting those malt tastes, those toffee kind of tastes. I've never been one for either of those, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Let's crack
We're
them.
gonna find out.
Hopefully they're not mush. Nope.
No.
No, I don't think it's been that long.
So we bought Tom bought these on the way here. Oh, this is a very honey-esque
geez.
flavor. That's all right. That's why we're outside.
Yeah, caught my knee there for a second.
Oof.
Okay, so yeah, it is a bit on the darker color. Not like dark, but like it does look a bit honey colored.
It has that ale smell to it.
Yes.
Which is.
Yep. Yeah, sure. Let's give it a little taste. I did get a lot of head in this pour.
That's why I went from the can.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'll do that. I'll
let
take
that
just
settle.
the first taste.
Okay. It's actually very mild.
Oh wow!
I thought it was gonna have more kind of kick you in the fucking nuts flavor, but it's mild.
Wow, for 6.8, it doesn't really hit you that much either.
No, it tastes like a German ale.
Yep.
There's no extended alcohol, boozy flavor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
It's pretty smooth.
Yeah. I don't know what 16 SRM means, but they advertise that. Because I know IBU did a whole thing on that. It was bitterness units, right?
Yep.
Here, I'll look that up.
Oh, it's the color.
So I guess
Blonde,
1 is
blonde.
very, very blonde, lightish, and 40 is the darkest you can be.
And then we're
16. So yeah.
Pretty low.
If you look at that color thing, it's almost like you're going to Lowe's or Home Depot
and
getting
you're picking
some
out paint.
swabs.
You're picking out paint. I hate that. I hate paint.
So it's very much it's like a light brown, I'd say. Not very blonde.
Dead center of row 2.
That's interesting. I've never seen that kind of
cool.
that charting before.
Beer color and micro. Interesting. Okay. I like it. And
it's not as strong as I anticipated.
No, it's got a good flavor to it. I mean,
that's something you can drink a fair bit of.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, they have barrels of stuff too.
Isn't bad. I am not a huge ale fan. Not that I dislike ales. Mm-hmm. I have just grown over the years to really lean towards a good IPA. I like double IPAs, but a good IPA that's mild, session IPA. Those are kind of my go-tos for the long haul days. I don't mind ales. Ales are pretty good. This one actually has a good flavor to it.
Yep.
And then obviously we've talked about in the past how I've just been on a sour kick.
Yep.
Just something different, change it up.
Yeah.
But this does. It has a good flavor. It goes well with grilled asparagus, barbecue ribs, and pecan pie.
Yeah, that's something I was gonna mention too.
I can't do the pie.
That's right, because you'll die.
Nuts. Yeah, no.
I wonder if you mix it with the pecan pie beer we did for the System album.
That might be a little too much.
That would be interesting. So.
But otherwise, it was good. They like this. This is good.
Yeah, their website, they have so many beers on here.
Oh my God, so much.
I can just keep scrolling forever. Granted, I'm sure not all of them are nationwide. I'm pretty sure this is the only one that was there.
They have other beers for sure that are out, and they're a pretty big name. Rogue is a solid
they're a big name in the craft beer industry.
But yeah. I guess I didn't really know what to expect.
Yep.
And
it's a little bit. You're not going to get hit with it. I mean, maybe that's because we did a pretty stronger beer before this, so maybe comparison wise, it's not going to be as big.
But it's good. I like it.
It is good. I like it. I like it too.
It's a good pick. And we had them in the freezer for about an hour.
That's right. Yes,
so
it's
nice
perfectly.
And cold.
Yes.
Nice and cold.
Yes.
And then pairing the dead guy.
With a ghost.
With a ghost.
That's right. Kids see ghosts, if you will. So this
There's a whole
came
movie
out.
About that.
There is, yeah. Maybe there's a connection there with the Sixth Sense. So yes, this came out in 2018. This is a collaborative album. 2018 was a big summer for Kanye because he put out. He was in a bit of a phase where he wanted to put out a lot of projects with other people and with himself that were very short. Very much in this length of style. Okay. So he put out an album with Pusha T called Daytona, which is a great album we should do later too. But same thing, it's 7 tracks, 23 minutes or so. Did an album with himself called 𝘿𝙬, which a lot of fans are not as strongly turned on to, but I love that album. That one's a great one. I almost did that one instead of this one, but I figured you would like this one a little bit more.
Yeah.
He did an album with Nas, I think it's called Nasir.
I've seen Nas live.
Yeah.
As strange as that is.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And then he did Teyana Taylor, and I think he did one more. But they were all this very short style. Mm-hmm. And they're not considered EPs. I know we're in the EP thing.
Yeah.
But it's considered an album.
It is not an extended play.
It is not. This is a long play, even though it's not a long play.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, yeah, this was the third album in this kind of stretch.
Okay.
And Kanye has a very tumultuous history, as everyone knows. A lot of people know him outside of music as just this guy who says a bunch of dumb shit all the time.
Really? What is it about? What is it?
So this is my rough idea of why he says a bunch of stupid shit. First off, there's a lot of mental health stuff that he's going on. He's very bipolar, and he's always off his meds.
Yeah,
he doesn't. He has a very big ego thing, which you can see on every single album he's ever released.
Yeah. But
people don't realize, like...
It's almost like a new version of, like, what Marilyn Manson used to be with, like, shock rock.
Exactly.
It's like, now it's like you've got Kanye doing those same, like, kind of, you know, pathetic, joking. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, so whenever he says stupid shit, I don't think he necessarily intends to be that on purpose.
Yeah.
But he's saying it so that people will start trying to talk about him on Twitter and all this other stupid shit. And then his albums get crazy plays now because he's been talked about. And I don't necessarily agree with it. I think it's a bad way to do it just in the public eye because now a lot of people just don't like him anymore, even though he still has a lot of fans, which doesn't make a lot of sense. But purely in terms of music, looking past anything he's done in terms of headlines or whatever this stupid shit is, I think his music is so great. Like, he was so ahead of the curve, even in 2004 when he put out The College Dropout. Just great production head to toe on that thing. Great guests. Great. He has some of the better skits on albums.
Okay.
But we're talking about Kids See Ghosts. This was an interesting album because not only is it a collaboration with another person who has a similar style, it's a bit more rock influenced. There's more guitars, a little bit of grunge, a little bit of psychedelic styles.
Well, as it's labeled with genre, it's labeled as hip-hop, psychedelic, progressive, and rap.
Yeah.
So you kind of have that mix in there.
Yeah.
And you even have, you know, Outkast was a band where they kind of sometimes pushed a little more of that rock with the hip-hop kind of influence.
Yep.
And Andre 3000 was a producer on this.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I'm seeing that right now, which I thought is kind of cool. Because I think he's very, very talented. Played Jimi Hendrix in a biopic.
That's right, yeah.
Never saw it, though.
No.
Heard it was good, though. Like, he did a good job. I can see that.
Yeah.
But never saw it. And I said biopic right.
There you go.
Just throwing
biopic.
Yeah, I thought that's what it would
I thought it was, too. I don't know.
Fuck this all up. That's a whole nother... We already had an episode on it, didn't we?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you said... You sent this to me, and last night we talked about it, and it was literally you know, like I said, we made an adjustment with Sod's Vacation, and so we picked 2 short EPs for these 2 episodes, or short albums.
Yeah.
And I listened to it once through, and I was like, okay, and I listened to it again a second and a third time. But what was interesting is the first song, in my opinion, I wasn't a huge fan of.
Okay.
I just found it to be, if it was shorter, I think it would have been a cool opener. But it kind of like, it was a little too long and not enough substance for me.
Okay.
And a lot of just like noises. And like, it was just kind of like erratic for me. And then they kept doing the like the gun noises with their mouth.
That.
And I was just like, it was cool at first, but then I was like, how many more times are we going to do this? Like, stop. I don't know. The first, as soon as I put on that first song and started listening, I was like, what in the fuck did Thomas send me? What am I listening to?
Fair enough.
You know, and I'm doing dishes and vacuuming with my AirPods in. So so I've got the house completely sounded out. No one's home. You know, soundproof everything, vacuuming, listening to this. Like at the very beginning, like, what has he got me listening to? Like, at first, you know, you kind of got like those fluttery in the background. Yeah, and he keeps. What's that one line he keeps saying? I can still feel the love.
Feel love.
And it just.
Yeah.
It just dragged a little too much because it's so repetitive.
Yeah.
And it is, you know, it's like, it's 3 minutes of I can still feel the love and, yeah, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah, because the only verse you really get is from Pusha T.
You get that one verse.
Yeah. Which I think that verse is pretty good.
I had nothing against that verse.
Yeah.
I just thought as a whole, it was a long intro song with not a ton of substance. And just like a lot of erratic noises. And yeah, it didn't start well for me. Let's put it that way.
Okay, that's fair. I don't know. I think I like that kind of that style because he's just so erratic and all over the place that you kind of expect something, but it's just like those gunshot snares where he's going with it.
And that was cool. It was very rhythmically sound.
Yeah,
it was. Yes.
I don't know. It felt so intense to me, like him going with that.
Yeah.
And I can understand the feel the love's a bit being not enough substance.
I think it was too long.
Okay.
For what substance it had, like you make that a minute and a half.
Mm-hmm.
You have the verse and the kind of the gunshot noises with the mouth and the snare. That I can still feel the love. That if you could put that all together and really wrap that into like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, it would have been a cool like little intro throw together.
Okay.
I feel like after the one verse there was there, then they just really dragged on that, and it just got to be like, okay, come on.
Okay.
And I feel like even into the second song, it's not a bad song, Fire, but it's very monotonous.
Okay.
Very low key, very slow. Like I'm at this point, like, okay, where's this hip hop psychedelic? Like, where is this thing going? No, I've only got 7 songs. I've only got 23 minutes or whatever it is. Like, where are we here?
This one to me sounds like a pirate dirge almost, and not in like a bad way, because I know that could be kind of like a gimmicky style, but that kind of like.
You got that tambourine,
and it's a little bit off. It's like
Yep. I can hear that. And again, it wasn't bad. I mean, that little bit of like that little guitar for the last 20 seconds. Kind of unnecessary.
Yeah.
Kind of killed the vibe.
Yeah, that kind of strummed opening.
It was
bit.
already slow and monotonous, and then that.
Yeah. I can agree on that a little bit. I like. He sounds very cold on this verse, Cudi, on the second half.
Yeah.
And it's the shortest one too. It's only like 2:20, I think.
That's probably the one thing that
saving
one
grace
redeeming factor. Yeah.
If this was like a 3.5 minute song, I could get why it's not. And this is probably my least favorite too.
Yeah.
But I still enjoy it.
Yeah. I don't disagree with that. It was definitely an interesting 2 songs to start the album with.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't really give you a good feel for what the album was going to be, in my opinion.
Okay.
I thought from song 3 on, it was so much better.
Yeah. I mean, even on the lyrical aspect, because this is where they actually start talking, or like at least rapping. Both of them have a feature on this. They talk about like their failures in life and the people who like judge them. And they choose to ignore it, and going as far as they say, like, I love all your shit talking.
Yes.
Like, I like that kind of confidence in the thing, too. But yeah, there are moments of it where it's not the shining, single that they wanted it to be. But I still think it has some merit and being in the track list here. And I think they both sound pretty cold on it, Not as erratic as the first one. It kind of brings it down a little bit. Yeah,
they did. But it was one extreme to the other. They went from being like super erratic to like super chill.
Yeah.
And then honestly, when the third song comes in, Fourth Dimension, that was the first. I was like, okay, this is the first time I really heard both of them and was like, all right, this is them. Like that was a Kanye verse. That was a Cudi verse.
This is the most Kanye track on the whole thing.
Yes, and that was the first thing I heard. Was like, this was what I kind of was expecting, knowing the very little I know about Kanye. I don't really listen to his music, but the songs I've heard, like this, made sense to me.
Yeah.
And I thought it was pretty good. I mean, another shorter track, it's only 2.5 minutes, which I kind of like that they're only 2.5 minutes. They're quick. And then, I mean, I thought that was just a very straightforward hip hop song.
Yeah.
You had your verses, you had your little chorus. They did a good job throwing those samples in there. They weren't like overpowering, but they fit the song. They accented the song just enough that it needed to be accented.
Exactly. Yeah.
They didn't take too long, take too much. But I thought that was a good song.
Yeah. This is one of my favorites on the whole album. This song is interesting because the sample of it, because it says it features 𝘂𝙁𝙗. The sample is him in the beginning where he's saying, down the chimney will come with his great big smile. That is I want to say it's a late 30s, early 40s Christmas song.
I was going to say, yeah.
And it broke the Guinness World Record of longest distance between songs on the Billboard charts.
Okay.
So he was on the Billboard charts in like the 40s or whenever it started. So it's literally like 70 years or so in between that. So he actually set a world record from this song.
Oh, because it was back on the charts and
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know if it was this song specifically, but a song from 𝘂𝙗𝙗, I don't know how to pronounce it.
All right, interesting.
Yeah, he's labeled as a
That's pretty cool.
feature on here.
Yeah.
And the lyrics are so. This is the most Kanye, like I said before, style. So he it's called Fourth Dimension because he's kind of referencing back to sex as being in a whole different dimension. Okay. And two of my favorite lines are, he says, she said I'm in the wrong hole, I said I'm lost. I thought that was really funny, just like he couldn't find his way around. And then he said that's too new to mention or fit in a sentence. If I get locked up, I won't finish the sent. So he's saying, like, you know, if he gets thrown to jail, won't finish his sentence. But he also doesn't finish the sentence. Cool. That's like the genius level bars that Kanye is known for. And I thought that was so cool to have on this kind of album. And,
I like that. You know, being that we kind of threw, like, these 2 episodes, I don't want to say threw them together last minute, but we kind of picked EPs for the short list, and I didn't get to really dive into the lyrics as much, so I'm glad you did, because, you know, like on the last EP, like, I knew when I picked Hailstorm, like, that first song, It's Not Me, the lyrics, when they re-recorded that for their first debut album, they changed, like, a whole verse.
Oh, okay.
Same song, same riff, same everything, but they changed the verse. And I don't really know the reasoning behind it, but it was one of the first things I noticed. I went to go sing along to it, and I was singing the wrong words.
Yep.
Because I was singing the words from the EP.
Yeah.
You know, so it's cool, though, that you notice a lot of those little features there with his lyrics.
Yeah, no, I've listened to this a ton, this album. I know I mentioned it a couple episodes ago, but Last.fm is a website that I use a ton.
Right?
Yeah. So you can track all of the amount of the streams that you've listened to on any streaming service. I think it works through Amazon too.
Oh, cool.
So I started tracking in 2017. So
my reggae listening's got to be through the roof lately.
Yeah. And
Summer's my go-to for that, man.
Yeah, you can track by genre, I believe.
Oh, that's cool.
But this album, where is it? It's number 38 all time. 300. So if every track counts as one, then I have 352 listens all time for this.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's up there. Wow. And granted, it's not even it's a smaller listen. So I've gone through it, whatever that is, divided by 7 or whatever. So I know this pretty well. I've never actually gone on Genius or any kind of these websites to go through the lyrics, but I can rap a fair bit of them.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And then I just like going through these lyrics. On the second half of this track, Cudi's talking about, like, where is it? Kids see ghosts off the ropes, Ric Flair on your bitch. That's the theme song. Yeah, yep. But it's so eerie, the way that he can sample this and make it sound kind of scary, because it's very, like, ghost based too, because you hear those, like, creepy laughs in the midpoint that are supposed to be like ghosts laughing at the production or something like that. But you know, and then at the end of this track, you can hear someone talking where he's just like, you know, just do that and let the music do something, do it again. That's enough for a record. And then he says, you only want 2.5 minutes if you can get it, 3 minutes max, which is from a producer, 𝘿𝙚𝙖. And I think that gives you more insight as to what he was trying to do for this whole summer, too, where he was trying to just have the, you know, 23-minute, 7-track album, because the only track that goes over 3 minutes, actually, there's the rest of the album does that.
Yeah, the whole end is a little longer.
Yeah.
And it was weird because, again, the first 2 songs, like, their saving graces were the fact that they were shorter, because I thought those 2 songs, I personally didn't think they opened the album well.
Okay.
Especially for a short album. Like, you want to get right into what's going on. And I feel like the first one was erratic, the second one was, like, subpar, like, super slow, like, whatever. I thought the 2 of them was such a dynamic in a sense. But then Fourth Dimension comes on, I'm like, oh, this is like we said, like a Kanye song. This sounds like Kanye.
Yeah.
This sounds like what he would put out. And then I loved Free. I thought Free was great.
Ghost Town Part 2.
Yeah.
So this is if you listen to this 𝘿𝙬 album that he released before this, Ghost Town is a track on that.
And that's what I was going to ask.
Fucking awesome track.
I was going to ask.
I love that track. So I feel a lot of what it's tough for me to look at this album and 𝘿𝙬 as 2 separate albums because there's so many combining characteristics of both of them. You know, you've got the fact that there is a Ghost Town Part 2, and then the first one is called Ghost Town.
Yep.
They're both the shorter 23-minute albums, and I'm pretty sure Cudi does have features on 𝘿𝙬.
Gotcha.
So it's tough to look at this in a vacuum, but the feelings of freeness and, like, just like not even like politically or like any kind of free. It's like an existential freedom. On the lyric front.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love this song.
Yeah, every time they shout free, it's like I'm going through like a kaleidoscope and falling back, and they're like, free! It's like this reverb on the end of it. It's so cool. And Marcus Garvey actually is in the beginning, too, where he's like, may I say something to you, give you a true knowledge of yourself in life?
Yep.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, because it has a very good flow for a very broken up song.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there really is no flow to it.
Yeah.
And that almost makes it flow, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's cool. Like, you get into those very airy frees and, you know, almost in some sense sounds like, you know, being as such a dark song or an album, you know, and kids see ghosts and the idea. It's almost like when you hear like those free, like almost like you are a ghost. Like some people say, like you died and like that's when you were set free.
Well, that's what they're
kind of that.
Yeah,
you get that vibe even if you're not listening to the lyrics. You get that physical vibe.
Yeah, that's what that feeling is on the 𝘿𝙬𝙖 album too.
Yeah,
where it's a party next door. He's saying like, nothing hurts anymore. I feel kind of free. And then he's like, I put my hand on the stove just to see if I could feel it, and nothing hurts anymore. Like I feel free.
Yeah, exactly.
So there was I also especially love 𝘿𝙚 feature on this. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many vocals like he tracked on top of each other to get those frees when he's singing them. It's so cool.
Yeah, they sound very eerie.
There's so many. Yeah. Cudi's getting a little sassy where he's like, guess what, babe? I am free.
They all play off each other very, very well, and it created a very, very cool song.
Yeah.
This was, you know, when I look at albums especially that I don't know, and even from artists that I like, I know Kanye, I know 𝘿𝙚, I know Kid Cudi, but I don't listen to them regularly. So when I listen to an album like this, you know, when I start recognizing a song the second time through, that's when I know this song stuck with me. Does that make sense? Like when I forget what a song sounded like based off the title because I don't remember then I'm like, that song really didn't sit well with me. Yeah. And this was probably the first one when I was listening where I was like, I heard it the first time, that was really cool. And the second time I heard it come right in, I knew what it was. Like, I really, really like this song.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that because I was considering doing the other one, 𝘿𝙬, for this. Okay. But I knew that Cudi has a bit more of a rock sound he's been going for in the past, like, 3-4 albums.
Okay.
He did an album called Speeding Bullet to Heaven that a lot of people weren't big fans of, but he was going for that style of a bit more grungy, a bit more on the rock end. He had an album with a collaboration by a guy named 𝘿𝙚𝙖 that tried to do the same thing. So I figured, since you are a bit less on the hip-hop, more of a rock kind of guy, this one would probably fit you a little bit more. And this song in specific, there's no hip-hop element to it, really.
No,
it's pretty much
very
just
psychedelic,
rock.
Very rockish.
Yeah. And in the 2019 Grammys, they submitted this song for the best rock song and best rock performance.
Really?
Yeah, because they thought it was that style. I don't know if they ended up taking it, but it says it in the liner notes here that they submitted the track for consideration.
That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I did like that song. It was the first one that really stuck with me on the album. It really stuck out. Like I said, Fourth Dimension, I thought was a great Kanye song.
Yep.
And when I heard it, I was like, all right, this is what I kind of expected.
Yes.
And then that song came on, and I was like, wow, this is a lot different, but this is different, for me at least, in a better, like, I thought this was what I was going to be listening to the whole time. And then even Reborn comes in. It's more hip-hop. It's a little more Kanye-esque. But I thought this was a great song, too. A little bit longer.
Yep.
You know, but like that first Kanye verse I thought was really good. And, you know, it's upbeat for a chill song.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool down from Ghost Town.
Yes.
Because that one just felt like they're getting rid of everything, and you're very much like tunnel vision.
Yep.
This song gives me a lot of visual aspects to it too. It feels like I'm.
And I like that piano. Dun. It's very simple.
Yes. Yeah. It's a come down from the other one.
It's so simple, but it's like just a good dun dun dun.
I love
dun,
the hums from Cudi in the beginning too.
Yeah.
He's He's been kind of known as a pitchy singer.
Okay.
He's very much been off-key a lot in his career.
Really?
Yeah. But when he hits it here, it's very much like a saving grace for me. Like it's a redemption almost.
Okay.
And then he just like, I like the mantras of moving forward, no stress, feeling reborn in a sense from being freed from all this stress and everything. Yeah. And it's like
these two songs go well together.
Yes.
Really well. Going from free to reborn is just a great 1-2 punch.
Yep. It's moving on from like previous mistakes, dealing with their personal issues.
Yep. The only thing I got to say about this song is they're a great 1-2 punch, but by the time you get to minute like 4, it starts becoming very repetitive and kind of like you start zoning out. Yeah, that last chorus is
a bit longer, and the bridge too.
You start not paying attention, in my opinion, and you start to lose it a little bit.
They would have been better to space out the verses a little bit.
Yeah.
I do like Cudi's verse though. He kind of talks about having his issues, and peace is something that starts with me. I like that mantra.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And had so much on my mind, didn't know where to go. I've come a long way from them haunting me. So he's talking about his ghosts. So, you know what? That's something that I never even thought about. Maybe this is like their experience with like their inner demons or something, and them being so free that they can see their ghosts and not be able to interact with them.
I like that.
That's something that I just realized on the podcast.
Look at you.
That's how I interpret the album from now on. That's
beautiful.
Cool. That's awesome. That adds a whole new layer of,
it really does.
Of interpretation.
Just circling back very quickly to the Benny Blanco, he had that song East Side with Halsey and Khalid.
Oh, okay.
And I just recognized the name. That was a pretty good song back 2018-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Cool.
So he's pretty well known. I knew the name after you had mentioned it.
Yeah. 𝘂𝙙 the Prince. Oh, that's writing it. Oh, he was just additional producer. Main producer were Plain Pat and Evac.
Yep. So, and then Kids See Ghosts.
The title track, if you will. Oh, this song is cool.
It is cool. It opens really well. I like that. Kids see ghosts sometimes. Kids see ghosts sometimes. Do 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 do. Yeah,
and that little like it's very like this is where the visual aspect gets caught up with me because
it's almost like an alien space kind of like in the background, like you'd expect in like a UFO movie or something.
This one I feel like I'm stuck in the jungle or something.
Like Twilight Zone jungle.
Yeah, late at night you don't know really where you are.
Yes.
That kind of like block sound that they're playing in the back sounds like almost like little droplets of water like hitting the So it's like a movie. This album feels like longer than it actually is for me.
I get that
because of that aspect, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Because my one huge knock on the album is that it's so short that I wish it was longer, but it does feel longer than it actually is for me, at least.
I mean, let's be honest. It's 7 songs and 23 minutes, and the last one we just listened to was 5 songs and 19 and change.
Yeah.
Almost identical. The last one seems so much shorter.
Right? Yeah. It's really only 5 minutes longer or something, not even.
Kanye's verse coming in, it was great.
Oh, yeah. And I think there's something about this where he had this this beat for a while and didn't have, like, a good enough verse or something.
Yeah.
And then he starts with, it took me so long enough to rap on this long enough.
That's cool.
I gotta find where it is, though.
I feel like when rappers call themselves out in a very personal way, it's so hit or miss. Like, I feel like Eminem is very good at calling himself out for something and making it sound and like fit so well.
Exactly.
And I feel like Kanye did really well with that as well. Sometimes you get like the Jason Derulo where he just repeats his name half the time, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Stop. And then you get other guys like Eminem or Kanye who call themselves out on something that they did. Like, how many times Eminem calls himself out for Recovery being a very different album that did not go over well, and and he'll call himself out on that and say that it wasn't a great album, but moves on from there.
Exactly.
And it works.
Yeah. So this feature is, or this verse is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Kind of talks about himself. Where is it? He addresses like his expectations and his pressures that come with being famous, and his kind of look towards competition and like the media a little bit. where where's that line? Where like, don't they say you damn, you got hella grown, you had a hella known, like him trying to grow from what he's learned a little bit. Got a Bible in my head. Oh yes, I'm very Christian. Constantly repenting because yes, I never listen. And it's interesting because he tried to put out a Christian album after this, like the next summer. He called it Jesus is King, and that was probably his least favorite album. That's my least favorite album.
Sounds it.
Yeah, it was not that great. There are some okay songs on that, but that was his most recent album as of right now.
Okay.
And my least favorite from him. But in terms of this track, if you look at it from the progression of them learning to deal with their demons and kind of seeing these ghosts in a sense, this one feels like they're almost like face to face with them. And like, because it sounds like the most eerie to me. It's like it's almost like a scarier, like, yeah, like you said, like a spaceship almost sound. Like
I hear like those.
It's something off-putting.
Yeah.
Somewhere where you're not really supposed to be, but you're comfortable being there. Okay. And if you look at it in terms of that, it's like a coming to terms with what you're being. And yeah, I think that's a really cool way to progress the album. And it ends with Cudi montage. And if you hear that kind of looped guitar sample in the beginning, that's a 𝘿𝙬𝙖 𝙙𝙬 sample. From you remember that album they put out after he died, where it was like a it was under Kurt Cobain's name, not under Nirvana. Let me look that up because I know the song. It's "Burn the Rain," I think, off of the montage of Heck. If you remember that when that came out.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'd have to look that up.
That was that was like they put it out right after he died, I think. But it's a sample of Kurt Cobain, which is really cool. "Burn the Rain," a track from the montage of Heck. Oh, it was released in 2015. Never mind.
It's a documentary. Yeah, I never heard this, so that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a really cool. I love Kanye's verse on this. Even Cudi's verse in the beginning.
Yeah, I like this one.
Yeah, it's a great send off to the album.
Agreed.
Yeah.
As I said from the beginning, track 3 to 7, I really liked. I would almost every time I listen to this, start with Fourth Dimension and listen right up to Cudi montage.
Okay.
And that's kind of cool too that you mentioned that the sample's taken from the montage of Heck, and the song's called Cudi Montage.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because I've always thought about that. Like, it's not really a Cudi montage. Like, it's not just him. So that's
but
that's
he is
interesting.
the lead, like, kind of vocalist on this song.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's taken from the montage of Heck from Kurt Cobain.
Okay.
That kind of
cool.
It's kind of a cool, connection there. This was a cool way to end it, and I was okay with it ending chill like this.
Yes.
It made sense. Starting, not so much. Ending, yes, I liked.
Yes. I love Kanye's verse on this where he talks about the cycle of gang violence and, like,
world
trying
peace.
to call a peace with everyone. Where he's, and especially the first 4 bars where he's like, everybody want world peace till your niece gets shot and they don't peace. Then you go and buy your own peace, hoping that'll help you find your own peace. Like, he just uses the word peace in 4 different ways.
And again, I know I refer a lot because one of my biggest hip-hop artists I listen to is Eminem, but he'll do that, where he'll do like a verse where every line ends with the same word, but that same word means 5 different things within those 4 bars. And Kanye
and it still fits in a way
sometimes
that makes sense.
You do that and you're like, why are you rhyming the same word with the same word? That's terrible. That's garbage. You're not even trying. But you do like that, like Kanye did, or like an Eminem does, and it makes sense. And it is. It's like a lyrical, genius kind of thing.
Yeah. And it's so, like, vivid in what he's explaining. Like, auntie crying on the concrete, talking to dispatcher with the phone beep. On the other line was the homies. Told her you ain't coming home, see. When she heard the news, that hurt her bone deep. Caught with the rifle with the long reach, just another cycle of the lonely. Like, that's so, like, vivid and such a cool description that, like, tries to call for people, like, not to do this. Because if you see that and go through that kind of pain, it's so bad.
Yeah.
And then, I like the call and response with the Lord shine your light on me, save me, please, and the stay strong from I think it's Mr. Hudson. I don't know what that is. And then on the outro, Kanye is like, both sides lose somebody dies, somebody goes to jail, and then he just kind of keeps going, and then it kind of fades out from there.
Yeah, and it is cool when you look at the writers of this song. Kurt Cobain is listed as one of the writers.
Yeah.
Which I didn't catch when I first looked this up, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. So, and that's maybe a call to arms too, because he ended up killing himself, and so it's almost like a call to action. Like maybe we should just kind of calm down after you realize your own inner struggles.
Yeah.
You can look outward onto other things and realize that all the other stupid shit that you're doing isn't really as important. So we should. It's very much like it's a very bigger than itself in a lot of ways.
It's a very mental album.
Exactly. Yeah.
It really is.
And the fact that I think they both have big mental health struggles over their years, I think that kind of plays a lot into it as well. So that in that aspect, that's why it does seem a bit longer of an album to me.
Yeah. Well, again, anytime you put together a song, even if it is 2-3 minutes, but it's very airy and very spacey, I mean, Pink Floyd songs sound a lot longer than they really are.
Yeah.
Because, like, you literally had to be high to listen to them, And I think they do a good job, though, with this one of, like, making it a little spacey, a little bit airy. I think they, it was, again, the album ended very well for me.
Yes, yeah.
It started, personally, a little rough. That first song was a little erratic, a little too long. The second song just was a little too monotonous.
Okay.
I thought those first two songs were extremely contradictory. Like, just they were one extreme to the other. And then all of a sudden, you came back, and then from song 3 to 7, it was like an album.
Yeah.
And it flowed really well. It had that spacey vibe, but that very emotional vibe, that very mental, health and all that vibe. Like, it just really mixed well. The music was good. The rapping was good. The hip-hop. I was happy when once I got past those first two, I got really into it, and I thought it was very good. Those first two were the only real kind of knocks for me.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. But yeah, that's the whole thing. I'm a huge fan of this album. I love a lot of what Kanye does. Other than his last album, I don't think he has many misses in his catalog. They feel like they're both pushing each other to be better. Like, if you go to the gym with someone versus going by yourself, like, it's a completely different experience.
100%.
Like, you want to be pushed by someone else, like, working out with you to be better and not to slack off as much because you think you can.
Yep.
And I feel like that's what they do on this album. Like, they're both pushing themselves to be better, because they've had some flops in their latest categories. But you want to go over favorite tracks?
Yeah, let's do it.
I have a tie for this one.
Ooh.
So I really enjoyed Fourth Dimension. Okay. I thought that was the most rap style track on the whole thing.
Yep.
And it's very much a classic Kanye moment where he has these one-liners that go over really well. The production is super weird, and you wouldn't expect something to come from that, almost like Jesus Walks off the first album that he put out. So I really enjoy that. And then my tie is Reborn. I really love Reborn.
Okay.
It's a bit longer, but it's like the awakening moment on the album, kind of connected with Free. And those two tie in well together. Also the most popular, even though it doesn't really matter. 200 million plays on that song, though. And it just felt the most freeing and like an awakening moment for all of them.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So those two are my favorites.
Yeah, I really liked Free, Ghost Town Part 2. That was the first song that just really stuck with me. Just the way it was put together, that was hands down the first one that really stuck. And I went and listened again, and I hit it again. I was like, that was... A close second would be Kid Seagos. I really like that song.
Yeah. If we were to do sleepers, that would be my sleeper.
Agreed. Same. But no, Free was definitely the one I would definitely go back to and listen to. And I thought that was just a really good, catchy. Like, I really liked that song. And then to talk about my least, I think I got to go with the opener just because I didn't like the way it opened. So Feel the Love, I just thought it was too long for the amount of substance it had. Yeah. I can still feel the love. That just got to be a little monotonous. And then, the syncopation between the gun vocals and the snare drum was really cool the first time. Yeah. And then it kept happening. And I was just like, all right, now we're getting a little beyond. I thought that if they could really dial that down to like a minute and a half song, That would have actually been a cool opening. But I just thought it was too long and too erratic, and there wasn't just enough substance to be like anything super useful.
Yeah. So I went with Fire as my least favorite, but I'm starting now again because I just had that kind of understanding moment later in the album. I feel like the first couple of songs, like Feel the Love and Fire, are very much like them being pretty normal in their everyday lives. Like Fire, maybe he comes under fire from something that happens. And then Fourth Dimension is where he kind of falls down this rabbit hole and realizing where he's going wrong. And then Free is like them understanding like, oh, you know, I don't have to worry about all this stuff. And then being reborn, they're understanding themselves more. So and then ends with them coming to terms with their own ghosts and like their own inner demons. So I feel like the first couple songs are them not really understanding that yet and still living with these kind of troubling things. So I can understand why the first two aren't as connecting with all of the people as the last couple are. But I did go with Fire. It was a bit shorter, didn't have as much substance. I did like Feel the Love a little bit more just because of those Kanye snare, like gunshot snare lineups. But I can understand that too. But I just went with Fire as my least favorite.
Makes sense. I agree with you on those first two songs. Didn't have... The first two songs didn't have what I thought the rest of the album supported.
Yes, yeah.
I think the rest of the album, 3 through 7, those five songs were great. I thought they were really good. There really wasn't anything, other than Reborn being a little too long. I thought they all had their kind of defining moments.
Yeah,
sure. And I feel like 1 and 2 didn't quite. So I can see where we both kind of sat with those as being the songs of the album. Let's overall.
Yeah, let's.
What are you bopping this one?
I am giving this 8.5 bops out of 10 bops. I love this album. I was originally going to give it an 8, but I'm starting now to realize the more thematic styles that they were going for. And especially when you give it your own sense of meaning, it adds so much more. Like, maybe that's also the fact that it's connected with Ye in a lyrical and thematic sense as well. But specifically in terms of this, I love how the story progresses, like I just mentioned. That kind of came to me as I was doing the podcast too, which is interesting.
That's hey.
And them like realizing their own struggles and growing from it enough so that they can see the ghosts in the fact that like that's the name of their group that they've combined to do on this. It adds so much more depth and layers to the album that you don't necessarily catch on your first couple listens. But I love the styles that they go for on this one. They really tie in rap, hip hop, rock, grunge, psychedelic.
Oh, they're all over the place.
There's even a little bit of Mad Lib worship on some of the beats on this being a little shorter and erratic. And I know I didn't mention this before, but there's a reviewer that I listen to a lot, a music reviewer named the Needle Drop. He's actually based out of Connecticut, but he has like a couple million subscribers on YouTube. He's like one of the biggest music reviewers of all time. Not in terms of like, like a news publication. He's just one guy. He actually gave this album a 10 out of 10, which he only has like 5 of them.
Wow.
And this is one of his 10s. So that helped me, because I respect his opinion a lot. He's turned me on to a lot of stuff. So I don't think it's a 10. Obviously, I gave it an 8.5.
Yeah.
It is a bit shorter, and I can understand how the first couple tracks don't really resonate that well. I understand that. But this album is great. It makes it feel like it's longer than it is. It gives you so many visuals in just listening to it.
Yep.
And I go back to this one a lot, as you can tell.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's a great album.
I think I'm sitting around like a 6.5.
Okay.
We've talked and we've been doing this now for almost a year, and I'm big on like flow. I thought the first 2 songs were, I don't want to say useless because they weren't useless. They're on there for a reason. Yeah. But I don't personally think they did the album justice.
Okay.
Especially as an opener and then a follow-up to that opener. 3 through 7 was great. Yeah. I really enjoyed those 5 songs. And, I was kind of hovering between like a 6.5 and a 7. Okay. Those first 2 songs kind of did me in with like, they just kind of... if this was an album that I just wanted to listen to, I don't know if I would have made it past those first two. I probably would have been. It would have been hard for me to like just force, because those first two, it's 5 minutes of kind of
Okay.
And I'm like, oh damn, this isn't, what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get Fourth Dimension, which is like your classic Kanye. Then Free came in, which was my favorite song.
Free's awesome.
Reborn was good, just a little long. Kids See Ghosts, great song. Cudi Montage, great song. And then knowing it was Kurt Cobain later on was even another ad. So I'm still like 6.5, 7. I'm not confident on either of those numbers.
Okay. So 6.75?
Yeah. I like
a
that.
Strong 6 to a light 7.
Exactly. Yeah. So I thought that was kind of where I sat. I definitely would listen again. Is it going to be a reoccurring one for me? Not often, but, I thought it was a good... being short, too, was nice.
Yeah.
I do, once in a while, like something that's kind of quick and doesn't drag too long.
Exactly, yeah.
You don't always have an hour to sit down and listen to an album. So when you can get one in 20 minutes, you're like, oh, I can still listen to a whole album.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Cool.
And then...
the 𝘿𝙬𝙖𝙙 𝘎 from Rogue.
The beverage.
Yeah. I thought this was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
It didn't hit me as super bitter or super anything like that. It definitely has its own... I can taste the toffee-ness and like the malt style.
Yep.
But again, it's very smooth. It's 6.5, but it doesn't taste like that.
No.
It's really, it goes down quick. You don't really get a lot of like back taste at all. It does get a little grosser as it gets warmer. They're not frozen anymore, so it doesn't taste that good when it's warm. But I mean, that's not really an aspect you should take in too much.
No, not at all.
I enjoyed it a lot, though. I'm gonna give it about a 7 or so.
Yeah, I'm at the same boat.
Yeah,
I'm going with a 7. I'm not a huge fan of ales. I prefer IPAs and sours over an ale. But I thought this was a good German-style ale. You did have that maltness, that sweetness. I agree, I didn't really taste as much of the bitterness, which is fine. I was okay with that coming as an ale. But it was one that you could sit down and have 2 or 3 of.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
It drank very smooth, that kind of honey color, as they said, that little darker brown, was good. Yeah, it was a solid beer. I'm going with a nice little, 7.
Yeah. I would love to try, because Rogue, I don't know if they have a lot of national beers. I know you said you had like the sample pack.
Yeah, I've had some sample packs from them, and I've had some other stuff from them. And they're usually, I don't think I've really had a bad beer by them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
cool.
a good sign.
Yep. So we'd love to try some of their other stuff, because that was pretty good. But it's gonna do it for us. Thank you for listening. Yeah. Thank you for a little short EP series. I'm glad you guys are tuning into this. But the next episode after this, what number is it? Because this is what, 46?
Maybe 47, I believe.
This will be 47. Yes.
Yep.
I'm gonna have another family member actually on the episode. I'm gonna bring my sister in, and she said she's been on to do the podcast for a little bit. So we're gonna do a Panic at the Disco album.
Ooh.
One that I've only heard like a couple songs off of. It's called Pretty Odd from 2008.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay. But that'll be cool. She's a big fan, so she's good on that.
Yeah. A nice 2008 release. And she just went up to Vermont for my cousin's bachelorette party. Or not my cousin's, her friend, but she went to, I think it was Citizen Cider. I could be wrong. But it's the 𝘿𝙚𝙖, which is a rosé cider.
Interesting.
That they make
I've heard
up
of
there.
those. I have.
So that will be on there as well. So
nice.
I'll be interested to try that. I think it's a blueberry, or something like that. I could be wrong.
Interesting.
But I can't wait to try that out. Thank you guys for listening. This has been a fun little EP series. Thank you, Mike, for having me as well.
Of course.
We'll be having Joe back soon. He's down in Aruba or something like
that.
He's having a good vacation, so he'll be back. But Hops and Bops podcast on Facebook and Instagram. We're streaming on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. For Mike, I've been Tom, and we will see you next time.
Peace.